Tuba, would you mind?
This is a pointer if you need one.
Okay, does this work? Can you hear me? Awesome. Thank you all for being here. I'll try and keep it just as brief. And thank you for the group for making me one of your own. It means a lot. I just wanted to share with you guys today just some anecdotal experiences that I had on the trip, and hopefully by doing so, pose the question, what is life beyond mere survival? After going through the experiences of this trip, I would have to say that the strongest impression left on me was the importance of the human dimension. That there are needs of a child that exist beyond that of the immediate crisis. Let me start off by saying that this was not my first time working with refugees. In 2012, as part of my time with the Red Cross, I'd worked in various Palestinian refugee camps. However, that did very little to prepare me for what I was to see in Jordan. There, the situation was very different. The Syrian refugee crisis, compared to that of the Palestinian, which has now lasted over 60 plus years, is one that is relatively new. The Zatari camp, which was only built as an emergency temporary dwelling for those Syrians escaping from the south, has now been only hosting Syrians for the last roughly 5 years. And as simple as it is, if you don't mind to going to the next slide, even the physical layout of the two camps is striking. On the right, you will see a Palestinian refugee camp in Ramallah, and then on the left, the Zatari camp. The cramped conditions, bare sunlight, etc., it contrasts sharply with the sea of white caravans that you'll see here. Therefore, while the Palestinian refugee crisis has one that has become a permanent reality, this has yet to happen to the Syrians. The Syrians have yet to give up hope. In fact, after talking to some, the caravans closest to the Syrian border were most preferred, where they hoped to someday return. Thus, during the trip, the Palestinian refugee reality hung in the air, almost like a threat of what the future would bring to these Syrians. How long would it take until each NGO tent, one by one, would slowly disappear, and the Syrians, like the Palestinians, would become forgotten? As you enter the Zatari camp, you come upon what is called base camp. Sarah touched upon this before. This was the center of all NGO activity, and just as importantly, the only place with Wi-Fi. If you go to the next slide, you'll see, in fact, every time you passed by base camp, you would be sure to see young boys crouched over their phones, leaning on the fence, trying to pick up on any of the Wi-Fi. The base camp was where many of our meetings with various NGOs were held. Amidst these many meetings, we quickly coined the term NGO speed dating, due to caravan after caravan that we passed, all housing different organizations. This really helped me witness firsthand the limitations to humanitarian and NGO work. We met with a wide range of NGOs that differed greatly in types and qualities of services provided, the funders and governments that they were beholden to, as well as the goals and philosophies of approach. We heard little about what a refugee was before he or she became one, however. It was important as a group to better understand this question and the larger complexities of the situation. What was the daily living like in the camp, for example? And how is that different from their life before? Those at Zatari are now quickly realizing that this temporary situation has become more permanent, and that there are needs that must be addressed beyond those of mere survival. Although Zatari has now moved beyond the humanitarian relief phase and has started becoming a development project, this has made the refugees a different kind of object, from one of victim to one that needs reform and lacks empowerment. This circles us back to the importance of the human dimension, the social realities of the refugees, which cannot be ignored, especially now. Before any prescription, any recommendation, intervention can be made, we first have to be made aware of the social realities and differences and be cognizant of the fact that not every refugee crisis is the same. In doing this, we also acknowledge the agency and capacity that Sarah talked about that these refugees each possess. On our fourth day of the trip, we went to Cyber City, a small dorm-like camp for those doubly displaced, if you will, Palestinians who were expelled from their homes and fled to Syria, and then expelled once more as the war progressed. As I walked into Cyber City, I noticed that the atmosphere was very different from that of Zatari camp. As you see up here, do you mind just going back one? Sorry. As you see up here, you saw the pictures of the 4 girls. These girls, no older than the age of 6, quickly became very attached. They would hold my hands, my jacket, stroke my hair, ask me repeatedly why I was there. They were clearly excited to see a new face, a distraction, someone to talk to, and as we continued to interact, I noticed very vividly their need for human contact. When our visit came to a close, the girls pleaded and begged with me to take them with me. One girl mentioned that she wanted to go to France. And asked me in Arabic, "Imtän رح ترجعي عيد ميلادي يوم الخميس فيك تيجي?" Or, "When will you come back? It's my birthday on Thursday. Will you be there?" Against my better judgment, I promised that I would try and come back someday, even though I knew that the likelihood of this was remote. I couldn't help but wonder, how many times have false promises been made to them before? My experiences both inside and outside of the classroom at Brown University helped me prepare for this trip. The rigorous instruction that I received, the interactions with the student and faculty from all over the world have taught me to be cognizant of my position of power and to respect that each situation is unique and different. The implications, if anything, meeting these girls really made me aware of the implications of my presence and my participation in the humanitarian work that I had already been so critical of. Brown has taught me to see things from a different viewpoint, to be critical of what I learn, and more importantly, to be critical of myself. I've come to be more open to learning and experiencing things that are outside of my comfort zone. When I started at Brown, I thought I knew everything, and now I know that that can be very limiting. So I'd like to end by saying that just yesterday, I received an email from a fellow student telling me that she had seen an article on the project in the news and wanted to know what she could do to become more involved. Needless to say, it made my day. As a student myself, at many times I've asked the same question: what can I do? I know that these girls will someday eventually realize that due to circumstances out of their control, they have been robbed of their future. So what will become of this lost generation, and what, if anything, can I do about it? In order to go beyond this white man's burden kind of discourse, I believe that the first step is always building a network of like-minded individuals, all passionate about the same thing. That's what Dima and Bashara did, that's what Sarah and Carl did, and that's what we're doing here today, and what I hope will continue after this conference. Thank you very much.